blind mice. Heard that one before? Of course you have. It's a public domain nursery rhyme. And of course it's a low budget horror film, which can only mean it's a Scott Jeffrey produced movie. You're absolutely correct. Three Blind Mice. One of many kind of public domain properties that are now getting the horror treatment. So it focuses on a family and their daughter, played by May Kelly, a Scott Jeffrey regular, who you may have seen in Mary Had Little Lamb, which I have reviewed quite recently. She's a recovering drug addict, so they go to this kind of out of the way retreat in the middle of the woods to try and get her to go cold turkey. However, this site happens to be the spot where these mice people are living, these kind of genetically mutated mutant mice people, of mice and men, I guess, in it. And they, of course, run afoul of them, and our kind of members of our family get killed off in various bloody fashion. And, well, that's pretty much how the film plays out. But what can we say? This one, I would say, is bloodier than most. Certainly of the kind of the films that I tend to be Scott Jeffrey produced, tend to be relatively bloodless. I wouldn't say this is gory necessarily, but there's a lot of fake blood is used, if that makes sense. So it does come across as there's more blood in this than most. What I would say, I suppose, is the makeup that is used on these kind of mice, humanoids type creatures isn't bad. It's kind of practical makeup, and they actually managed to, with computer jiggery-pokery, actually give them a little bit of kind of movement on the face, which, I think is appreciated, because sometimes these monster films, you have these rubber masks and they just don't really move around and it just looks like a rubber mask. So yeah, it's not, they're not terrifying, it just looks kind of like, as I say, like prosthetic makeup, but it's not bad. It's not a bad effort in regards to the VFX here, and I think the CGI movement on the face looks okay. So yeah, we got some bloody, we got some makeup. I think again, these kind of Scott Jeffrey movies, because they are produced so frequently, ultimately it's a proficiently made crew behind the camera here. Nothing spectacular, but it's solidly made, solidly put together. There's a couple of fairly good shots here and there, I would say. The cast aren't terrible, although we are saddled with fake American accents. That's the other kind of cliche I keep forgetting to mention. Fake American accents. So let's transition to what doesn't work. Fake American accents in every one of these movies, for no apparent reason. Apart from they want to sell them in America, so they have these kind of like American accents that never really sound particularly kind of convincing, and drift in and out of a British and an American kind of sounding tone. But the acting isn't terrible outside of that, I would say. It's just so predictable. It's just so predictable. I mean, they have a writing credit on these films. I'm thinking, why bother? Why bother? It's the same plot in every single one of these films. And you never have a male lead in it. There's never a male protagonist. It's just the same thing every time. It's just boring. It's hard really to get invested. Maybe I've watched too many of these kind of things and it's just kind of like, it's weighing on me. But man, it's just the same old kind of low budget, run of the mill, being chased around by, insert creature here in a kind of a house in the woods. It's just so unoriginal. With kind of like CGI explosions, lots of kind of like grating kind of raspy screams coming from May Kelly. Not a huge amount of dialogue, not a great amount of character building here, just kind of like, there's my family, they're really annoying me. I gotta be honest with you, the May Kelly character that she plays in this one, Abigail, She's a very unlikable character. I mean, she's a drug addict, so she's very combative with her family, who are only trying to help her and, you know, ultimately pay the price for that. But very unsympathetic, even when their family lose, you know, end up kind of like, let me just say some of them don't make it. You know, and it's ultimately this character we're meant to be rooting for. Very unlikable character. May Kelly always tends to play the bitchy characters in a lot of these kind of Scott Jeffrey movies. The odd exception here and there, but, you know, it's just an unlikable character. But it's just like, yeah, being chased around dark rooms, people getting knocked, you know, killed off one by one in the order that you're going to expect. Of course, the male characters don't really get a massive amount of screen time. It's just, it's so tiresome. It's so tiresome. Yeah, this one was a bit of a struggle. I mean, it isn't a terrible film, I don't think. It's not like completely unwatchable. If you've never seen one of these films before, there may be something here for something like you can enjoy if you just like low budget slash films. You've not seen any or many of the Scott Jeffrey produced stuff, but if you have seen more than like 3 or 4, you've seen it. You've seen this film. 3 out of 10. It's very dull. Very kind of generic, uninspired. 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.